We are a third of the way into the NFL season, so I'm joined at the desk by Corey and Noah to discuss the NFL awards as the season ended today. So Noah, who do you have as MVP? Let's go right for the big guns.
I think you need to give it to Mahomes so far. You can talk about the fact that he's leading the league in touchdowns with 14, only has 2 interceptions, but what stood out to me is his leadership in the Denver game. He didn't play amazing in the first half. It's a tough environment, but he led them to victory. He has not lost. They're tied for the best record in the league. I don't think you give it anyone else so far.
What about you, Corey?
I 100% agree. I mean, he's phenomenal. His arm is ridiculous compared to Brett Favre a ton. He's thrown 2 interceptions. It's his first year starting the season. He's incredible. I 100% agree with that.
And he threw those 2 picks against Jacksonville, a team with a very good defense, and he still won the game.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to give love to Jared Goff, though. So, what do you have for Offensive Player of the Year?
Drew Brees. I mean, he broke records last night. He's a great player, always great. He has 0 interceptions this season, which is incredible. He's got 11 touchdowns, 4th in the league passing yards. No doubt, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is having a great year, and I think you're kind of the fact that he had such a great night last night is affecting your decision. I think that Gurley is the Offensive Player of the Year this year so far. He's leading the league in all position players for touchdowns by 3, which is crazy. He's on the best team in the league. He's the best player on the best team in the league. I think you got to give it to him so far.
Agree wholeheartedly. I mean, Gurley is just a difference maker entirely. Where Brees is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league, though, in my opinion.
I agree.
Needs to be in the conversation for top 3 ever.
I mean, even though Gurley's good, I mean, 0 interceptions, and we're more than a quarter of the way done. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable.
He's leading his division, too. So what about defensive on the other side, Defensive Player of the Year?
I don't think you can make an argument for this. It's got to be Khalil Mack. Have we seen a player come to a new team and make this much of an impact right away? They've been terrible recently. They're first in their division. He's clearly the best player. Look, Trubisky's been good. He played great last game, but he hasn't. Khalil Mack's been the best player on this team by far. He's tied for first for forced fumbles in the league. He's got to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
What about you?
Obviously, Khalil Mack is a very popular answer for the defensive player, but I got J.J. Watt. I mean, he's been healthy this season. We've seen his dominance. We all know what he can do. He's just going to continue to dominate the league. He's got 6 sacks already. He looks like the J.J. Watt we all know and love.
J.J. Watt's having a great year, but for me, the bigger impact is what they're doing as an individual player. So Khalil Mack, he's taking over the team that hasn't been great, like I said, and he's making a bigger impact. J.J. Watt has been good, but their record has not been as good as Chicago's been. I think Khalil Mack's impact for the overall team has been overwhelming, so that's why I'd give it to Mack.
That's an amazing point about the record, 3-1 versus 1-4. So who do you have as your Offensive Rookie of the Year?
This was a tough one.
Or just rookie year?
This was a tough one. So far, I'd give it to Calvin Ridley. He's leading rookies in touchdowns, which is the biggest stat I can give right now. He's having a big impact for the Falcons. You could give it to Saquon, also pretty close. So far, Calvin Ridley, I'm not so sure if it'll continue to be that by the end of the year, but I got to give it to Ridley.
He has stepped up for Julio, who has not caught as many touchdowns as we all thought.
I don't think there's a question about who's going to win. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. I mean, take away the fact that the Giants' record, this kid has had 100 total yards every single game. He has 5 or 6 touchdowns. I mean, the Giants aren't great, but when's the last time you've seen the New York Giants be able to run the ball or have a running back?
Tiki Barber.
Exactly. He's impacted that team. They scored 30 points. They lost on the 63-yard field goal, but he's ridiculous. If you see his moves and everything, no doubt Saquon Barkley.
I agree that Saquon will end up winning the award. I think the Giants will do a little bit better. He's been great touchdown-wise. He's only averaging around 60 yards rushing per game, which isn't – I mean, it's definitely good, but for Saquon, I'd expect better. I think he'll end up getting it, but so far, for the touchdown category, I got to give it to Ridley.
Has been keeping them in the games. Well, that is all the time we have for this episode of the 101 Sports Webcast. Huge shout out to all of our crew, producers, and talent. Make sure to follow us on social media and like our page on YouTube at 101 Sports. That's all from us here, so until next time, whose side are you on?